My name is James Bridgeforth. I'm a young and very successful investor, and in this video, I'm going to break down a stock that has been crushing records and milestones and is soon going to take over the future. This stock could make the next generation of future millionaires, and I'll show you exactly how. I'll also show how this stock isn't too late to buy and the future growth and upside that it has. The stock that I'm going to be speaking on in this video is the one and only Nvidia. Nvidia is the #1 AI chip making company in the world and has just hit an all-time high of $172 per share. This is a great and crazy milestone for Nvidia because I remember when Nvidia was around $100 and I was buying up all the shares, dumping in all my money that I could to take advantage of this opportunity, and Nvidia is now sitting at $172. Now, if you're watching this video and thinking to yourself, if you missed the train, I'm going to dive into exactly the opportunities and points that you could consider investing in so that you're able to benefit for the growth that will come from years to come. And I'm here to tell you that Nvidia is one of the best companies in the stock market. The last couple of years, Nvidia has been carrying the stock market along with many companies in the Magnificent Seven. Nvidia has had one of the fastest growth rates we've ever seen in the stock market. This is just next to the technology boom of the 2000s, to where AI is slowly starting to implement itself into everyday life. And like I stated earlier, I understand that many people are looking at this $172 price per share and thinking, is it too late for me to buy? I see that Nvidia's up major percentages over the last couple of months. Where can I get my opportunity at? Well, first, I want to talk about some price predictions that I have for Nvidia, where I could see in the near future Nvidia is going to hit $200. That's going to be its next stop. So there's room for future growth there, and you have to understand the opportunities when they present themselves. But I also want to dive into opportunities where you're able to buy. So the way I do so is where I pull up the charts, preferably I use TradingView, to where when I pull up the charts, I'm looking for resistance and support levels. Since we're at all-time highs, we don't have a resistance level on this quite yet. Obviously, we can use fundamental analysis for that. But if we look at the technical analysis, we can see that a support level is going to be $153 per share. Now, this is typically where I like to load in all my shares at. So if you look, there's going to be down months in the stock market, and then there's going to be months that are historically higher. And we actually have a month coming up sometime around September where the stock market and crypto market could actually take a dip during this time. So if we see a dip during this time and we see that Nvidia starts to come to that support level of $153, I will be loading the boat here. I will be putting in all my money. I will be investing very heavy at this point because I believe in Nvidia, as we are just in the first quarter of AI technology. But if we're looking at a near term profit taking opportunity, then $200 is the next mark that we could do so. So we could buy at $153, which is our support level, and sell at $200, which is where it's going to go. So if you look at this, you can understand that in the short term, Nvidia will go to $200. But if you believe in AI and understand that this is just the first quarter of it, then you could imagine that Nvidia has a lot more room to go. And one of the great things about Nvidia as a company is that they haven't even reached their full potential. And I say this because the demand is outweighing the supply at the moment. And I know I've spoken on this in previous videos, to where the supply actually isn't matching the demand. When Nvidia is able to create these AI chips that'll match the supply of the much needed demand that it's receiving, then that will cause the revenue to skyrocket. So at the moment, Nvidia isn't even at its full potential. So you can understand, one, we're in the first quarter of AI, and two, Nvidia hasn't reached its full potential, and three, it's the most dominant and #1 AI chip making company in the world. So you can see that this company has room for future revenue growth and future market growth, to where AI is going to take over the market space like it already has been doing. So if you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm going to be buying at $153, somewhere in that range. I typically like to do 153, let's say 160, somewhere in that range is where I will start buying my shares. And then as it gets closer to my price target, if we decide to take a dip of $153, then I'll start to buy a little bit heavier. But I'm saying if because there's a lot of situations to where Nvidia can continue to rise and go straight to 200. I'm just giving you a buying opportunity. So if it does take a dip, don't view this as an opportunity to sell or to panic, but view this as an opportunity to buy. The same feeling you have right now about you possibly missing the train, or even if you're an Nvidia shareholder, there gets to a point to where as an investor, you think to yourself that you never own enough shares. I always think about that. There's stocks that I own, there's crypto that I own, such as Bitcoin and Tesla and all these other commodities and assets, and you're thinking to yourself, while they're running up, man, I wish I bought more. But here are the opportunities to where if they take a dip and you're a shareholder in this company, buy more shares of Nvidia. Start to load up on your shares so that in the future, you'll be looking back thanking your younger self for making the smart decision that you knew would be the right one. And now, if you're an investor who's looking for other opportunities to buy, and you aren't able to identify support levels like I was able to do so, where I would buy at $153 if Nvidia decided to take a dip, you can also just do simple investing. So if Nvidia is down 5% or 10%, 15 or 20%, these are great opportunities for you to buy as well. The lower that it goes is the more money that you should be putting in, so it lowers your average cost. So when it's at 5% down, I'll put maybe 1 or 2 shares. Now, if it's at 10% down, maybe I'll put 5 shares in the market. Or maybe once it starts to get to 15 and 20% is when I start to buy heavier. So this lowers my average cost, and this also allows me to gain much more in the future. Now that I've talked about how Nvidia just hit an all-time high, some of its future price predictions, opportunities for you to buy, I also want to dive into a long-term goal that I have for Nvidia. In the next 10 years, I could see Nvidia being $1,000 per share. So if you're buying at this opportunity, this is an opportunity to where if you also believe Nvidia could be at $1,000 per share, this is around a 10x on your money. So that $1,000 that you're putting in today or investing could soon be $10,000 if you have high hopes for Nvidia or if you believe in AI technology. What I'm doing is providing you stocks and companies that you could evaluate yourself. These are all suggestions. I'm just telling you what I would do in this situation. Obviously, none of this is financial advice, but I have a price prediction of $200 on the near end, $1,000 for the long-term goal, and I would buy opportunities at around $153, and if it was down 5, 10, 15, or 20%. Now that you understand all of this key and crucial information, thank you all for watching this video. Feel free to turn on the post notifications so you never miss an update, and I'll see you guys in the next video.